Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my review of the Ricky Wysocki Sockibomb Slammer by Dynamic Discs. This is the first release in the new Sockibomb lineup under the Dynamic Discs brand. These will be discs that Ricky helps design and bring to the market for his own game and for his fans and throwers out there around the world. So, we have one that is prototype, we have one that is first run. The prototype was sent to me by our friends at Dynamic Discs, so thank you very much to them for sending me this thing to test and review, for their continued support. DD has sent me a ton of great plastic over the years, and I love working with them, so thank you very much to them for hooking it up. And then since I tested this one, and I'm a Ricky fan, and I saw this guy at the Disc Golf Depot here locally, I purchased this one for myself, this first run. It's got a really nice kind of like faded rim there where the color comes through. It's got this kind of like pinstripe circle on the bottom there that looks really cool, almost looks like a spin die or something like that. And this one is considered the classic Supreme Orbit plastic, so it's got that color on the outside rim. These are available in different colors. The base color is kind of like a whitish gray, and then the outside can be black or orange, red, blue, and then this kind of turquoisey green color, which looks really nice. It actually kind of got it to match this felon that I'm also throwing. I'll do a quick review on this guy coming up here soon as well, so stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button if you like the content to stick around. We're mostly going to be looking at the first run because the prototype has my ink on the bottom, and they basically performed exactly the same. I'll give you a quick look at this guy, though. I always loved Ricky's logo. I believe Big Germ did this logo for Rick years ago. I think it's great. Definitely better than the trend of just doing your initials in some kind of way. So, defining characteristic of this disc, you're seeing it all already, is the thumb track. It's got a thumb track on this thing. It is bored flat to slightly puddle top, which is great for forehand in particular. Great for a beefy backhand approach disc as well, which is basically what this thing is for. You know, you could putt with it in the headwind, you can throw it off short tee shots, and I'm sure people will, and Ricky will from time to time, but primarily it's an approach disc, and that's what I'm using it for as well. I don't think I'm going to throw it off the tee too much, but I have been carrying it in my bag as an approach disc. So this one's inked on the bottom, as I said, so I'm going to get this one out of the way, but I wanted to show it to you. They really didn't perform any different in my testing. They basically feel and fly exactly the same. This one might have a little bit more of a velvety grip to it. Other than that, they're largely the same, other than the obvious difference in the colors with that orbit rim. Looking at the bottom of this thing, you can see Ricky's logos embossed there, molded in, as well as the mold name Slammer, 175, and it'll of course say dynamicdisc.com, made in Sweden. There's the thumb track again, and looking at the design of the bottom of the disc, it's very, very similar to the Harp. So, if you're not familiar with the original Slammer, I have a review on that disc. I don't think it has flight footage. It was one of my earlier reviews. It was several years ago now. But you can see the original design of the original Slammer in that video. As far as I can tell, this is basically a Harp bottom with the top of a Slammer. I don't know if it's quite that simple, but that's basically what it seems like. I'm sure there are more things to kind of make that happen than it seems, but it's got a little bit of a deeper feel than the Harp. Let's bring in a couple things to take a look at it next to. We have a Wysocki Pig, and we also have an Origio Harp. Let's start here. Putting these kind of parting line to parting line, you can hopefully see that it almost looks like the Slammer is just raised up that tiny bit to allow for it to dip down into that thumb track, right? But other than that, I think you'll agree that they look very, very similar in terms of the shape. So it really does kind of feel like a Harp with a thumb track. And again, if we look at it across the top there, it's basically what it is. You know, it's always hard to get these lined up perfectly because there's the depth perception and the field of view and all that kind of stuff. Getting around the tripod and everything, it's always tricky, but yeah, there you go. Pretty close though. I don't know if it's quite that simple to just, you know, take the top of one mold, bottom of another. I doubt it. But there it is next to the Harp. Harp flight number is 4303. The flight numbers on the Slammer are not listed on either of these, but they are 3, 1.5, and 4. Now, do I think it's that different than a Harp? I kind of don't, to be honest. I think it would be closer to 3, 2, 0, 3 for me. I typically take offense to positive numbers in the turn category on the flight numbers. You know, just for me, I feel like if it doesn't turn at all, it's a 0, and then if it has any turn, it goes into the negative numbers. But I can kind of see it on certain very overstable discs like this, that it does kind of move left naturally. Even if you throw it flat, it starts to go left pretty quick. So it kind of makes sense, but, you know, whatever. It's all very subjective there. And let's take a look at it next to a Pro Pig as well. I believe this is a 2019 Ricky Pig, previously reviewed. If you want to see the way this thing flies, you can see it's got much different design to it. It's more rounded, but it does have that thumb track. It's a little bit shallower, I would say, for sure. Definitely shallower based on that look there. It's got more of a rounded, softer feel on the underside there. I actually really like the way this Pig feels. I've always really liked the way it feels, but not anything I ever bagged in terms of that run. The first flat top overstable approach disc I ever had, though, years ago, was our Pro Pig. Actually, it was the first one I ever tried. So that is a look at the Slammer. The feel is great. The plastic is kind of velvety, grippy. It's extremely firm. There's almost no flexibility to it. Very similar to typical classic hard plastic or BT hard, if you're going to be talking about harps. So let's get into some flight footage for this thing. Definitely overstable, definitely a short-range disc. You're not going to be able to throw it very far, but that's not what it's designed for. In fact, that's one of the nice attributes of the disc, is it almost helps you with distance control just inherently in the fact that it does not want to fly very much. You really got to give it some oomph to get it to go. But for forehand approaches, it's automatic. I mean, this white prototype one, during my first testing round with it, and never thrown it before, I don't think I threw a bad shot with it all around. I was scrambling with it. I was getting up and down with forehands, backhands, little chop over forehands. Great for little chip shots in general. Definitely something you could throw off the tee on short shots, or if there's a lot of wind. Or if you really just want to play for a position that's not too far from the pin to progress from there, could be a great option. But I think this thing's going to be largely an approach disc for most players, and Ricky included, and I think it's best suited for forehands. Don't know how often I will throw these things backhand, because I feel like I like the harp a little bit better, the VIP harps that I throw, the nice premium plastic. They fly a little bit more, so I can stretch them out a little bit more. They're definitely a little quicker, a little more glide, so I agree with those differences in the flight numbers over the harp for sure. But yeah, in terms of like a soft harp, a brand new, fresh, soft harp, compared to one of these Slammers, it's not a giant difference in stability. They're relatively similar, but it adds that thumb track, and it does add some more beef to it. Just doesn't fly quite as much, wants to get down to the ground, wants to fade. So, pretty simple disc, not a lot to say about it. You guys are going to get the idea from watching it fly in the field. It's beefy, it's overstable, and it's a really, really effective, intuitive point-and-shoot overstable approach disc for anybody who understands how to use these discs. You'll have no trouble throwing and controlling the prototype or the first run Slammer. I would like to see these come out in like an opto lucid blend. That would be cool. I'd like to see if maybe they're a little bit less stable, but they still have that nice thumb track for forehands. And if they mold up with a flat top in that plastic type, we'll see. If they ever actually hit the market in that plastic, I have no idea. That is my review on the Sockibomb prototype Slammer from Dynamic Discs, and the first run as well. So thank you very much to Dynamic Discs, as always, for their continued support. Thanks to all of you for your support, watching the videos, subscribing. We've cracked 14,000 subscribers. We're almost to 300 disc reviews. I appreciate all of your support. Lots more content coming soon. Keep an eye out. Hit the subscribe button. I will talk to you all very soon. Cheers. Thank you so much for watching, and big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. If you would like to see your name listed in the credits of all of my videos, go to patreon.com/discgolfnerd.